Hey, what's going on, guys? I hope you guys are having a good day. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World and the Black Business School. I am on my way to Chicago. I gotta go and give a little bit of a speech tonight. It's not really a formal speech, it's just an event where I agreed for a homeboy to drop in at his, I think it's like a happy hour type of event in Hyde Park. But anyway, I want to say hello, everybody. I hope you guys are having a good day. I wanted to address some stuff that I thought would be worth talking about in terms of how we can keep working as a community to settle our differences and find a way to establish codes of conduct and codes of interaction. Codes of engagement, rules of engagement. When the world was at war, during World War I and World War II, and they saw how much destruction occurred as a result of that war. One of the things that they did was they tried to form organizations like the United Nations and NATO and stuff like that to try to see if they could find a way to find peace before it became all-out war. And so I think black people are going to end up going through some similar things when it comes to politics. Because we've kind of, in a way, with on stream or live stream media or digital media, it's kind of like this situation where it's giving people these weapons of mass destruction. These tools called YouTube channels that can be used to divide, to destroy, to attack, to discredit, to undermine, to besiege, to ruin, to break down, and to tear apart things that other people might be doing. And before I get started on this, please shout out your city, your business, or your dream. As you know, this is the place for intelligent black people. So on drboycetv.com, this is the place for intelligent black people. So if you're not intelligent and black, if you're white, that's okay. You ain't got to be black to be here, but black agenda is first agenda. And if you're not intelligent or don't want to be intelligent, then you might want to get the fuck out. So shout out your city, your business, or your dream. And everybody, please hit the thumbs up button. Hit the thumbs up button real quick if you don't mind. And also, don't forget that if you want to get text notifications when we go live, please text the word Boyce to 31996. Now, I might not be able to shout out a lot of the cities, but I do see Silver Spring, Maryland, and I see Compton. I'm driving, so some of y'all always get on me when I'm driving and talking. And so out of respect for those who love me enough to tell me to warn me about being too stupid, I want to say that I will not be reading much in terms of your comments because I'm trying to drive at the same time. But I do see Dallas and San Antonio and Killeen, Texas. I see 3 Texases in a row. Man, Texas is such a big city. My God. So anyway, so here's what I wanted to kind of hit on a little bit so we could talk about this. And I don't really, I'm not really gonna have a ton of these conversations. I've been waiting to discuss this in more detail, when there was a good time, when it was the right time, in terms of it being something where the world can benefit from it. I really don't want to spend a lot of time. I told you, I'm not really, in 2019, I'm not going to be out here fighting black people, but I will come in and try to help correct a course or to improve something that, when I see that there are there's area for improvement, there's spaces for improvement. And one of the things that I had to really address is this ADOS movement, which ADOS stands for American Descendants of Slaves. Everybody who's in here, most of you are probably ADOS, right? Most of you are American Descendants of Slaves. If you're not American, you can also be a British descendant of slaves. You could be a Jamaican descendant of slaves. You could be, a descendant of slaves in other countries. But most of you either are ADOS or you identify with the concept of ADOS. Nobody gives you permission to be ADOS. That's why, when one of the people who created the ADOS movement or created the hashtag, I don't even know if you say the person's the leader or not, but one of the leaders said, "But Dr. Boyce, we ADOS wants nothing to do with you." And I was like, that's like telling me that my black skin wants nothing to do with me, that I have no right to be a black person anymore. And I just think that's kind of stupid, because I can point to my triple great grandfather whose name was Boyce because he got his name from his slave master. My great-great-great-grandfather Boyce was named Boyce because his slave master named him Boyce. So that means that I am his descendant, which makes me a descendant of slaves, and I am an American. So therefore, I'm an American descendant of slaves. Therefore, I'm ADOS, and therefore, I don't need nobody's permission to be what the fuck I am. So let's just make that 100% abundantly clear. The Negro egos must be thrown out, right? Or the Negro egos, right? Negos. We got the Migos, the rap group. Now we got the Negos, the Negro egos, where people think that they own a certain movement, or that because people bless you and endow you and give you the privilege of hearing whatever you have to say, you somehow think that you are the creator, the owner, the giver of life of it. You think maybe you feel like your mama. Remember your mama used to say, Negro, I bought you in this world, I could take you out. Because she had a point, right? She gave you life so she can end your life. At least that's the way the rules seem to work. And that's fine, but black leaders ain't your mama. They're not your mama. There ain't no black leader, ain't no black public figure out here got the right to tell you what you can and cannot belong to. And that goes back to a fundamental concept that I've really kind of tried to impress on you guys from the jump, is that black leaders only exist if we decide that they're going to exist. A leader only exists if you decide that that person is going to be your leader. And when you let them lead, you are giving them a privilege. The privilege is that I will let you lead as long as I feel that you are leading people in a good way, as long as I am in alignment with your value system, as long as I feel that you are worthy of receiving the support that I'm giving you, as long as I feel that you're worthy of my money, my time, my energy, whatever it is that I'm giving you to support your movement. So make no mistake about it. Make no mistake about it. When people say, when people refer to me as some kind of a leader, I correct them right away. I'm like, look, I don't want to be nobody's leader. I'm not asking to be nobody's leader. I don't consider myself to be nobody's leader. But I am an advisor because I'm a scholar and I know a few things, and I care about the world. I care about the community. I care about fairness and truth and blackness. And so as an advisor, I've been given a certain privilege by people who listen to me. And that privilege is not to be taken for granted. It's almost like when a man gets to sleep with a woman. You ever see a man? Tell me if you ever seen it. Did you ever see a man who starts sleeping with a woman and begins to think he owns the pussy? You ever seen that, where he thinks he's like that's mine, and whose pussy is this? Whose pussy is this? Right? This is my pussy. And then if she tries to leave and go be with another man, what does he do? He starts nutting up and acting out. Excuse my French for being too vulgar, but y'all know what I'm talking about. If you got kids listening, they can't handle like raw talk, like take them off the live stream, because this probably ain't even a good conversation for kids anyway. But seriously, you ever seen that, where a man literally loses his mind because a woman decides she wants to be with another man? Well, the reason that weak ass men lose their mind like that is because and I'm not making fun of them. Everybody's felt jealousy before, but the reason men lose their mind, ladies, in case you don't notice, let me break this down for you. The reason the man loses his mind is because he thinks he owns the vagina. He thinks that, that this woman is his woman. Like she, maybe he bought into this idea that you belong to me. And the fact of the matter is that that's just not true. Nobody belongs to anybody. He needs to understand, like, look, you're not the owner of this building called her body. You are a tenant. And you will be a tenant until she evicts you. And when she evicts you, you can't pitch a fit. You can't go burn down the building. You can't go and try to get somebody kicked out the house. You can't go act like you're the owner. You have to just quietly pack your bags and walk away. So that goes back to the concept of black leadership. I think that when it comes to black leadership in general, and I'm getting to a broader point here. I actually made a few points on paper that I want to address on this, so I can make sure I have clarity in what I say. One of the biggest problems we have in black leadership in general, in terms of any movements that occur in the African American community, is we have massive egos that come out of two, extensive hero worship. Rather than thinking of progress in the black community as something where we all pitch in, we all play a role, we all get to be leaders of our own families and our own households, we're waiting for Superman. We believe that one person or one group or one small council of people can guide us to the promised land, and that just ain't the way black leadership is going to work in America. I don't think that's what's going to get us where we need to get to. So you are your own black leader, and to whatever extent you allow me to be an advisor or anybody else that you follow, understand that is a privilege that can be revoked at any time you choose to do so. Now, with that said, let me talk about the ADOS movement, the hashtag ADOS versus the reparations movement. ADOS and reparations are not one and the same, although they should be and can be deeply connected. ADOS is a specific segment of the reparations movement where they have a specific vision on how reparations can be obtained. That vision is not it's not a bad vision. It's not a ignorant vision. It's an accurate vision, because most of us can agree that that black people deserve reparations, right? Like, if you and I are all driving west, I could be on Highway 81, you might be on Highway 62 or 63 or whatever, and we're going in the same direction. We're just taking different routes to the same path, but we're still both headed north. So there is room for common ground. Unless we start getting picky, and unless we start allowing our personal perspectives to be morphed and to believe that our personal opinion is actually a fact, right? Like, it's one thing when you state a perspective or state an ideology or state an opinion. It's another thing when you state your opinion as if it's fact. And it's another thing if you get to the point where you start persecuting those who disagree with the opinions that you have that are stated as fact. I think that's where you are creating a natural division. So that's like two people going north, one's on I-81, one's on I-63, and instead of saying, well, we're both going north, I'll see you when I get there, one person says, well, you're a dumb motherfucker because you're riding up 81. I'm smart because I'm riding up I-63. Fuck you. You suck. You're as bad as the people who are driving south. I think that is unhealthy. I don't know if that's going to benefit black people, because what happens with reparations, the reparations conversation is front and center in the national media. I give the ADOS movement credit for that, actually, because ADOS was one of the first people to really push the conversation in recent times. However, you must also give credit to people like Minister Louis Farrakhan, Dr. Claude Anderson, Randall, I can't remember his last name. Randall, the brother that wrote the book called The Debt. Ta-Nehisi Coates. Who else you got out here? The brother Darity down at Duke University. There are lots of people who've been talking about reparations for a long time. And I think that where we have an opportunity is we've got the majority of the black community not just in agreement that reparations is deserved. I think that was always true. We always have the majority of black people that believe reparations was deserved. But now we've got something better. We've got not just Randall Robinson. Thank you very much. I apologize for not remembering his name. But not only do most of us agree that reparations are necessary and deserved, but we also are in agreement that some political action is called for to pressure politicians into giving us the reparations we want, right? So now you got, political candidates, Cory Booker, Kamala Harris, other people who specifically refuse to talk about reparations, who are now ready to talk about it all day. Why? Well, because when they go on Breakfast Club and things like that, they people clown them for their very bad interviews, because they would dodge the question of reparations. Bernie Sanders kind of got booted because he wouldn't talk about it, etc. It's been a beautiful thing. I love it. I'm very happy. I think that there's momentum that can be continued. Now, what has occurred recently that was drawn to my attention was the ADOS movement has a lot of extra energy in it, and I love that energy from the membership. I told you guys, the leadership, I can't say that Yvette and Tona and I are best buddies. I don't think I dislike them as much as they dislike me, but I never really disliked them. I used to share my YouTube channel with Yvette and Tone. I played a substantial role in the building of Breaking Brown. Me and my assistant has all the receipts, all the financial transactions, where basically we set up we helped to support the website. We basically drove traffic to the site to help Breaking Brown grow. We allowed the leader of ADOS to use my YouTube channel for years to build up her platform. If you go back and look at the channel now, there are videos up there where she's saying, go subscribe to my channel, go subscribe to my channel. And in fact, actually, the place where the ADOS conference is being held this year is actually at a church, or is hosted by at Simmons College. And you guys have heard me talk about Simmons College. It's run by Dr. Kevin Cosby. Kevin and I have been friends for years, and I was the person who connected Yvette and Kevin together and basically helped make that happen, right? So the support has been there. I don't want to go back into that too much, but I just want to make it clear that that the division among the leadership is something that it seems to be more personal than it is ideological. But I think at the same time, I think it's important to understand that leaders don't matter. So-called leaders don't matter. Prominent people don't matter. I don't matter. They don't matter. What matters is you. You matter. more than we matter, right? So the point of that is to say that when you talk about ADOS membership, I see y'all coming through here. I see people coming through my channel now who will use the hashtag ADOS. And I love that. I think that's great, because what you're basically saying is that you're glad to be a part of something. You know, you are glad to believe in something. You are ready to fight for something. And what I respect about the ADOS membership is that they go above and beyond. They'll go hard in the paint for what they believe in. They will push. And I think that that's really important. You need that, right? You need, even though it can be a little disruptive, you need the people that are going to go out and really kind of break the rules and kind of, you know, make things happen. And in sports, it's like a playmaker. They call it a playmaker. Like a playmaker might be a person that might do something unconventional, but they make something happen in an otherwise boring game. So politics is an otherwise boring game, and those who really push the envelope are the people who make the game unboring. But what I do think at the same time is I will admit I was a little bit concerned because I saw an ADOS member kind of run up on Mark Thompson. Mark Thompson with SiriusXM Satellite. Mark Thompson, I'm gonna just say this: I judge people by how I dealt with them, how they dealt with me, and I will say, you know, I haven't talked to Mark in about 5-6 years. But I will say that there was a time when I talked to Mark quite a bit, and Mark and I did not see eye to eye. You know, Mark for example, Mark was always a big believer in the NAACP. I believe in about the NAACP about as much as I believe in a bucket of pee. You know, like seriously, the NAACP, all I think about is pee, because you know, it makes me think about a bucket of pee. I have very little. Been very frustrated through the years in terms of you know, the lack of progress. The NAACP is not for me, but I learned from watching the people who fought for black folks in the 60s. One of the things that they said was that, you know, this is from I think of Stokely Carmichael and some others, and Malcolm X might have even alluded to this, that for many years because they were frustrated with Martin Luther King, they used to attack Martin Luther King, used to fight Martin Luther King all the time. And you know, what it was, you know, he never talked bad about us, you know, and that made me think. I was like, yeah, so exactly how would you benefit anyway if you were to discredit Martin Luther King? You know, like, is the world better off if you destroyed Dr. King, or is there a way to partner? Well, you know, I don't think the world would have been better off if they had said, well, we're going to put all of our energy into tearing down Dr. King, because you can still do your thing and let Dr. King do his thing. And I think, you know, and there were some leaders who kind of had that vision and understood that, and some of them didn't understand it until they got a little bit older. But anyway, I mentioned that because I think about strategically speaking now, in current, you know, times, like right now in the year 2018 or 2019, excuse me, we've got, you know, the ADOS membership, some of whom, not all of whom, are really active, really vocal, really willing to engage, and I love it. I think it's excellent. And then you've got those who are a little more mainstream, right? You got black folks who believe in reparations, but they're not necessarily a part of ADOS. You got guys like Mark Thompson, who you know, is a little more mainstream. He's mainstream media. He's got the job at Sirius. He does stuff on MSNBC. You got Talib Kweli, who actually said ADOS is trash, which I think that article, I read his article in detail. The article that said ADOS is trash. Somebody said I'm babbling. Well, fuck you. You babble your ass on out of my live stream, just dummy. Anyway, so excuse me. Here I am. I'm up here talking about unity, and I'm just cussing people out. See, that just shows all of us are hypocrites. So ain't none of us perfect. None of us are worthy. All of us are trash on some level. So let's just be clear about that. But let's keep going. So anyway, so the thing is that, you know, with Talib Kweli's article on medium.com, I recommend you read it in detail. You know, it almost sounded like he had more of an issue, not so much with ADOS and the membership or the concept behind ADOS, which originally started with reparations. I think that he had more of an issue with Yvette Carnell, the leader, and he also had an issue with kind of a strict ideology that says that, you know, this is a movement where, you know, no black immigrants are invited. This is painted as a movement where anybody who believes in doing for self is not invited. You know, this is the movement where Dr. Claude Anderson ain't invited. How are you going to have a reparations party and not invite Dr. Claude Anderson? That's what I'm trying to understand. I don't understand how you can even put that word in your mouth and not include the original pioneer of reparations, who has, unlike most of us out here talking on YouTube, unlike most of us YouTube yappers, Dr. Claude Anderson been in court for 20 years, I think, spending his own money on a lawsuit fighting for the rights of black folks for the 1866 Indian Treaty. That don't make him perfect. That don't make him correct on every point. But that does mean that maybe before, when you're picking all the people you want to throw under the bus, maybe you want to put him at the bottom of the list, right? If you're picking all the people you want to discredit, maybe he shouldn't be at the top of the list. Maybe he should be at the bottom, right? Not even in the middle. Maybe he shouldn't even be on the list, right? When you're picking the people that you want to attack and fight with, maybe Dr. Claude Anderson, a man who's been speaking about reparations for the last 50 years, maybe he's the guy that you kind of leave off the list, at least for now, until you get the job done or whatever it is you're trying to do, right? So what I'm talking about here, and I don't know how Talib Kweli feels. I don't know Talib Kweli. I never had an issue with him. I've never been in alignment with him on every point, but it's like, okay, he's a good dude. Like, he's not an enemy. Like, he's not. Maybe we're not on the same freeway to get to the destination, but we're kind of headed to the same place. We're all headed to the place called Black Freedom. This city called ending white supremacy. This place we're all trying to go to called Stay Wokeville, right? We're all trying to get to the same place. We're just taking different pathways. So when I'm picking my enemies, I try my best not to pick enemies who just disagree with me on ideology. Why? Well, because that's very bad strategy. It's very bad strategy. So let me talk in detail about this Mark Thompson versus ADOS thing. Or some people say he wasn't ADOS. Maybe some people say he is ADOS. I'm not going to go into that, right? I'm not going to go into that. All I know is the way it's being painted as ADOS versus Mark Thompson, right? And Mark Thompson, apparently he was at an event and a guy who many believed was connected to ADOS, maybe he wasn't, kind of really got aggressive with Mark. And I saw video of the argument, and the video I saw, showed the guy really kind of in Mark's face. Mark's engaging him back. And then there's a point where there's some physical activity. And I'm going to tell you the truth. Again, Mark Thompson is my homeboy, and that'll never change. But the first punch I saw came from him. The first physical interaction came from him putting his hand on the guy's face, and I think he punched him or something, right? Then I saw some stuff happening outside. It just really got to where it was really sad to watch, embarrassing for black folks. We need to kind of process that as well. Not so embarrassing to the point where you got to worry about what people think about you, but to the point where we got to ask ourselves, is that really necessary? Like, is it really necessary for two grown-ass men, 50-something years old? I don't know. One of them might even be close to 60, fighting out in the street. I don't know. I mean, I fought out in the street when I was like probably about 16. That's the last time I had a street fight. So I don't really know how it looks to, not so much embarrassing to white folks. I'm talking about embarrassing to our children, or embarrassing to our community, to the people that want to see us make progress. So long story short, I will say this. When it comes to Mark and that fight between the person that many people believe was an ADOS member, if Mark threw the first punch, and the video I saw made it appear that way, I don't think Mark should be suspended from Sirius or lose his job. I think that Mark should be allowed to apologize. Because if you hit somebody and they didn't hit you, I don't really see any justification for you doing that. I saw people trying to sort of explain it away and everything. I didn't really buy that, honestly. I just think, somebody gets in your face, maybe that means you need extra security. Maybe that means you need some people around you to help create space. But I don't really know if physical engagement is necessary. So in that one, I'm going to have to say my friend was probably incorrect on this, but he's still my friend. I don't look at Mark Thompson as a guy who is a sellout. I look at Mark Thompson as a guy who has a strategy that isn't always the same as mine. Again, I remember one time Mark called me on the phone, and I had wrote an article about the NAACP, and I went in on the NAACP. And he was like, come on. He's like, hey, boys, I just want to say, man, don't mess with the NAACP, man. And I was like, why not? Like we didn't agree on that. We didn't see eye to eye on that. But that didn't mean that we didn't see common ground. And so what I think that we have to kind of think about as a community from a strategic standpoint is, why are we quick to destroy and not quick to improve? If you have a movement that's different from my movement, maybe my job is to give you constructive critique to help you make your movement more effective. Instead, we have an environment where there are individuals that seem to want to destroy and discredit the other person's movement. And then the loser is always the black community. It's like good cop, bad cop. When there's a criminal or a suspect, that the cops are trying to get them to confess to the crime, they do good cop, bad cop. That's where one person pretends to be the friend. They're a little nicer. The other one comes in and throws shit and cusses them out and I'll kill you if you don't tell me what happened, right? And so what happens is the suspect gets scared of the bad cop and they become friendly with the good cop. And what they don't realize is that behind the scenes, the good cop and the bad cop are working together because they're thinking, okay, if I let him know he don't want to mess with me, then he's going to come over here and he's going to negotiate better with you. So I really think that in the black community, maybe ADOS, compared to, mainstream America, maybe right now they're seen as the bad cop. And that's not a bad thing. Okay, be the bad cop, disrupt, go hard, but go hard at the right opponents. And then what you do is you go meet with the good cops. You go meet with the mainstream Negroes, the Negroes wearing the blue ties, who work with the Democratic Party. Not all of them. Some of them you can't work with because some of them are carrying water for the Democrats. But there are some of them in there who are watching this happen and they're going behind the scenes saying, I really agree with what you're saying. I just can't say it publicly because I don't want to lose my job. And what I think you can do is you tell those people, look, we don't want you to lose your job. We need you to have your job because you're closer to Massa than I am. I can't get at Massa. When he sees me coming, he puts up a guard, but when he sees you coming, he lets you get close. That like with my father used to say that. My father used to say, keep your enemies closer and your friends closer. I said, well, wait a minute, don't you mean keep your friends close and your enemies closer? He said, no. He said, your enemies can't never get to you because you know that they're coming. It's your friends that take you out because you let your friends right in. You don't put up a struggle when your friends come by. So basically, I would say that if when you're taking down white supremacy, you're getting this government that's never loved black people to do things for black people. It's got to be part of it's got to be an inside job. I really believe that. And so I'll say this. Look, when we're talking, I don't really understand. I will say this 100% abundantly clear, and I will not stutter as I say this. I don't understand when you talk about, the people that created the ADOS hashtag, mainly Yvette and Tone and, whoever else is like the main people. I guess Yvette's the main one. When you go out and you tearing down Louis Farrakhan, you're not making progress. When you tear down Dr. Claude Anderson, you're not making progress. When you're tearing down Pan-Africanism and saying Pan-Africanism is no good and that it's dead and everything else, you're not making progress. When you go tear down, and of course there's efforts to try to tear me down. That ain't gonna happen. You ain't gonna stop my ass. I don't care if I got 2 people watching me or 2 people listening to me. I'm gonna keep on talking because I was talking 25 years ago and I ain't gonna stop till I'm dead. So when you're not making progress, when you're tearing down every black immigrant, you're not making progress. When you tear down the do for self movement, you're not making progress. Who in the hell said that a black person, y'all tell me yes or no, answer my damn question, please. Can a black person do for self and still demand reparations? Yes or no? I will not continue talking until you answer that question. Can a black person do for self and still support reparations? Can a black person say, I'm gonna build my own, but give me my reparations? Yes or no? Answer the question, damn it. Yes or no? Right. So why would you think that you have to attack the do for self mentality? Like, well, do for self ain't work and do for self has failed, and somehow think that makes any strategic sense whatsoever. Most people I know who believe in building Black Wall Street, they agree 100% that we need reparations. They're like, shoot, yeah, let the white man write the biggest check because we can use that check to do for self. You need do for self in order to own something for yourself. How you gonna say I did for self when everything was given to you because you don't believe in doing for self? That don't even matter. How are you going to build anything that you own that's actually yours when you let somebody give that to you and you somehow are walking around saying black people can't do for self? That's weird. That doesn't even add up. That makes no sense. That's insulting to black people. So what I'm trying to say, black folks, is, when you're going around and you're tearing everything down, when you tear down Farrakhan, you tear down Claude Anderson, you're tearing down Pan-Africanism, you're tearing down little old Boyce Watkins, which I don't care about his ass. Boyce Watkins don't matter. Boyce gonna be all right. When you're tearing down black immigrants, you're tearing down, the do for self Black Wall Street mentality. You're tearing down black businesses left and right, trying to discredit black people before you go discredit white people. What you're basically doing is this. Here's what you're doing from a strategic standpoint. Bad strategy. It's like, imagine the black community. Imagine a movement as a human body. You got 2 arms, 2 legs, 2 feet, and a pair of testicles, right? Or something that can be cut off. So imagine if you go and you say, okay, like tearing down Farrakhan is like cutting off the left arm. Then you're working with 1 arm. Now, because you done disrespected the whole nation of Islam and they don't want to mess with you. They don't want nothing to do with you. They see you as a threat now. Then you go and you tear down Dr. Claude Anderson. That's cutting off the right arm. Right? So now everybody who believes in powernomics, everybody believes in us too, everybody who believes in do for self and what Claude Anderson teaches is now they ain't messing with you. So now you walk in with no arms when you cut off your arms voluntarily and neither arm needed to be amputated, right? Then you go and you cut off Pan-Africanism. Again, the Black conscious community, the Pan-African community has issues like every other community, but there's a lot of good people who believe in supporting the diaspora, who are wonderful people, brilliant people, active people, engaged people, intelligent, capable, the hardworking people out here. So, but you cut it all off, you chop them all down. That's like cutting off your left leg. So now you got no arms and 1 leg. So now you're hopping down the street and you're trying to run, you're trying to make progress, but you got no arms. You got 1 leg, so you're hopping on 1 leg. Then you go and you decide, well, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna tear down everybody who believes in do for self. I'm just gonna talk shit about do for selfers. I'm gonna cut that. So that's like now you cut off your right leg, right? So you keep cutting off body parts, and you're trying to travel down the road. You're trying to make progress, right? You're trying to make progress down the street, and now but you got no arms, no legs, and then you cut off your own balls in the process. Now you're not going to go anywhere because your body is going to be just a big nub laying on the ground. You're going to be a walking turd. That's what you are. You literally are just sitting there and you're not going anywhere because you have engaged in a massive amount of unnecessary alienation, which some would argue is not just deeply connected to a lack of strategy, but a lack of mental health. It is some other agenda that is built on destroying others in an almost competitive sense, or an almost arrogant sense, or in an almost just hateful kind of sense, like an angry kind of sense, like, to the point where people don't even understand what the hell's going on. You know, I can't. If I follow a leader, if I'm following somebody and you're telling me we're going to drive to the north and we're driving down the road and you're driving at the speed limit and you're going in a straight line, that makes sense to me. But if you start speeding up, slowing down, driving in circles, flip your car over the side of the road, I'm not going to follow you in all of that. I don't understand what's happening. It doesn't make any sense. You know, so what I'm trying to say right now is, for Black folks, you can read between the lines. You obviously know which leader I'm talking about. I'm not going to go into all that because it ain't about the leaders. Don't matter. I'm trying to say, kill the fucking leaders. If you're going to kill anybody, kill the leaders. Kill off the leaders, including me. Get rid of the leadership and realize you are your own Black leader. You are your own Black leader. Don't nobody need to lead you to understand the importance of reparations. Don't nobody need to lead you to understand that you are an American descendant of slaves, or a British descendant of slaves, or whatever country you go. Don't nobody need to lead you to that. You can lead yourself. If you have a brain in your head, raise your hand. Tell me, do you have a brain in your head? Say, yes, I do. Yes, I do. If you got a brain in your head, then that means that you have your own leadership. But like any smart leader, you maybe can use some advisors. Right? Advisors are something that every leader should have. A good king has good advisors, because a good king, first thing a good smart king knows is that he don't know everything. The first thing a good smart leader knows is that they need advisors to supplement the things that they do not understand. So maybe you can look at some of us talking heads and people out here running our mouths as advisors, where maybe you can learn something from us. But at the end of the day, it must be your own decision. You must make that decision. So if you support reparations, it shouldn't be because I told you that reparations matter. It should be because you know that it matters. You know that reparations matters. And to what that does too, here's another point I want. This is what I want. If I was to form a political party right now, it would be called something like the Live and Let Live Party, or maybe the Black Freedom Party, or the Black Intellectual Freedom Party. Maybe that's what we call it. The Black Intellectual Freedom Party. Maybe that's what the BIF. Yeah, the BIF party. Black Intellectual Freedom. What does that mean to me? That means you got two things. One, you can think for yourself because you have a brain in your head. And two, you're free to do whatever the hell you want to do. And you're free to do what you want to do without fear of persecution, or extreme narcissism, or fascism from those who disagree with you and are telling you that what you're doing is wrong. You know, what do I mean by that? Well, we got black folks in our community where when I say to them, I say, look, you know what? Ain't none of these politicians supporting reparations. And I think reparations matter. Ain't none of these politicians, these Democratic politicians, doing nothing for black people. And so when it's time to vote in the next election, y'all can do what y'all want, but I'm not gonna be there. Boyce won't be at the polls that day, so I might be getting ice cream with the kids. I might be at home in my office working. I might be at the motherfucking zoo, but I'm not gonna be at the polls because since the politicians are gonna do what's best for them, I'm gonna do what's best for me. And on that day, I'm gonna be busy, right? So when I say that, I have people that come and they're like, well, if you don't vote, you don't count. You know, your ancestors died for you to have the right to vote. You know, you're going to put Trump in office again if you don't vote. And I'm like, well, no, actually, in my opinion, I didn't put Trump in office. I didn't do it. I think the Democrats did it. I feel that the Democrats put Trump in office because they, when Bernie Sanders was going to run and he was going to beat Trump, predicted to beat Trump, the Democrats decided to cheat and take the nomination from him. And also the Democrats decided to ignore the black community. So now the black community doesn't feel incentivized to go vote. So if y'all really didn't want Trump in office, y'all would have fixed that shit back in 2010. Donald Trump is a product of your benign neglect of the black community and really of your own party. Y'all not just doing this to black folks, y'all oppressing white people now. So that's why you got Trump in office. That's my opinion. And you know what? There's this place, there's this idea in this place called America called freedom of expression, where I'm supposed to be able to say that and y'all supposed to still leave me the fuck alone, right? But no, we don't do that. We have people that will look at what you believe and they will seek to destroy you. They will seek to discredit you. They will seek to attack you. They will seek to harass you. They will troll the hell out of you. They will do everything they can to persecute you because you're not going along with the bandwagon. That creates unnecessary division, which therefore limits the ability of black people who might not be on the same side of the spectrum to even communicate with one another, to even work together. I don't buy into any of that. You know, so when I go talk to Lib Kweli, or if I talk to Mark Thompson, I know I'm not stupid. I know Mark Thompson, he likes the NAACP, I don't. Well, that's called a difference in ideology. That doesn't mean I'm supposed to go talk about his mama or tell you about, you know, the time Mark declared, you know, the time Mark got his car repossessed, or the time Mark got locked up when he was 22, or not that these are true. I'm just throwing shit out there, so don't apply this to Mark. But I'm saying, or talk about the time where his baby's mama said that he got caught cheating. Like that's all personal. That doesn't have to come from the fact that I disagree with Mark ideologically. We must mature and have mature debates. Mature debates means that I ain't got to really talk about you like a dog as a person in order for me to just say, you know, I don't agree with you. And I could even say, you know, I think that's silly. That just seems stupid to me. I would never do that. Right? But we can still be friends after the debate is over. Right? So what I'm saying to you is that I believe in the black, what I call the Black Intellectual Freedom Party. We should let people do whatever the hell they want to do. So that means that if you love the Democrats, or let's say, for example, here's one issue, right? A lot of people feel that the fear of a Trump presidency is enough to vote as long as you're getting Trump out of office. The Democrats can nominate any person they want. They can nominate a monkey and a gorilla to go into the White House. And not that, well, I guess they're kind of the same thing, but y'all get the point. They can nominate anybody to go into office, and as long as it ain't Trump, people will show up to vote just to make sure Trump gets out of office. Okay, cool. That's what you believe. But then there are people like me who say, you know, a Trump presidency doesn't really scare me that much. My life was kind of the same under Obama as it is under Trump. Most black people I know, their lives didn't change under Obama. It didn't change under Trump. If Trump's talking about, you know, the fact that he wants bigger border walls, I care as much about that as the fact that as him telling me he likes to wear alligator shoes. It don't matter to me. It ain't got nothing to do with me. I'm not trying to get across the border, so I don't care. And in fact, in my experience, my own experience, which is my real lived experience, I have read articles like the Bloomberg article that says that a lot of the murders in Chicago occurred because of specific drug cartels that came across the border illegally. So my position ends up being one where I say, you know, Yeah, I know a Trump presidency might be bad, but maybe that'll make the Democrats wake up. Maybe that's what we need. Maybe we need 2 Trump presidencies so that next time they come around looking for the black vote, they'll know black folks are a little more intelligent than they were the first time when they tricked us into voting because they scared the shit out of us, right? So that happens to be my ideology. That happens to be my set of beliefs. You have no right to tell me that my beliefs are wrong. And also, I would hope that we wouldn't get to the point where you decide that now because I believe something other than what you believe, that means we can't be friends on Facebook no more. So many people are unfriending black folks, people they've been friends with since the 80s, unfriending them over whatever white folks are doing. You unfriending somebody that you've known since kindergarten because Donald Trump said something and they agree, they voted for Trump, and you think that they're an idiot. So you're going to end a 50-year, 40-year, 30-year, 20-year friendship over something that white people are doing. If I'm gonna quit being your friend, it's gonna be because of some shit you did to me. If I stop being your friend, it'll be because you came to my house and you peed on the floor, or you got drunk and tried to hit a woman, or you took my car and borrowed it and wrecked it, or you made me mad because you betrayed me in some way. I'm not gonna stop being your friend because you're a Republican and I'm a Democrat. Like that, I'm not that invested in any of that. I am not. The Democratic Party ain't never done nothing for me that I know of. I'm not saying that they have or haven't. Maybe when I was a kid, when we were on welfare or something, I don't know. The Democratic Party ain't done nothing that I've seen that's had a remarkable impact on my life. As a black man, I've kind of had to fight for the things that I wanted to get in my life. You know, I don't really feel as a black man that the Democratic Party wants to do anything other than put me in prison like Bill Clinton did in the 1990s. I felt like I was dodging the penitentiary as a black man because of the white man that was in office. So I'm not going to go vote for a party that led to the greatest mass incarceration epidemic in the history of this country and still have not fixed that epidemic, right? Like, you know, people talk about, well, where are the good black men? There ain't no good black men out here. So all the black women need to go and look at their options. Go marry a white man because there ain't no good black men out here. Ain't nobody asking, well, where did they go? Where did all the good black men go? I'm going to tell you where the good black men went. I went to visit a brother, Mario Lloyd, in prison, and I went to go visit him because I was trying to help on his case and help him get out. It did not succeed. We tried, but we could not get him out. I went to go see Mario in prison, and do you know, ladies, I'm telling you, do you know how many good-looking, strong, intelligent brothers I saw in that penitentiary? It would have made you sick. If you have been spending your life looking for your black king to come along and marry you and take you away to wherever you want to go, there's a good chance, if you haven't found him, there's a good chance he's locked up, he's in prison. Because Bill Clinton put him in prison and he ain't let him out yet. They just apologized for it, but apologies ain't the same as letting somebody out, right? So that's where I come from as a black man. I'm not going to support that. But at the same time, if I tell you that and we're kicking it at your house for dinner, like it's going to be kind of unfortunate if you say, well, I'm not fucking with Boyce Watkins because he won't support the same white people I support. Who gives a shit? We should be supporting each other. I don't vote Democrat. I don't vote Republican. I vote for black people every day of the week. Straight up, point blank, period. Please hit the thumbs up button if you haven't hit the thumbs up button yet. And I want to say thank you to everybody who's made a donation. I'm going to list your name. I see Stacy Doe. I'm driving, so that's why I got to be careful. I see Kim Brell. I hope I pronounced that right. Thank you. I see again, Kim Brell gave twice. Thank you so much. Vincent, I support and salute any black person to building and pursuing betterment for the community, period. Right on. Exactly, man. You know, so I'm just trying to tell you, you know, if we get into if we start majoring in the minors and looking at other black people and saying, well, because you said tomato and I said tomato, I need to discredit and destroy you, we're not going to get anything done. Black people have no friends. We have no allies. You know, and in order for us to move forward as a community, we're going to have to find some way to build bridges and let some shit go. It's like marriage. Like if you get married, if you ever, here's the rest, I don't know the secret, all the secrets to staying married forever, but I can tell you some of the secrets to divorce I've seen. The secret to divorce, I believe, is when you hold grudges over little shit and you can't let that shit go. The people I've noticed who can stay married a long time are the people who can wash off their grudges. and wash them off on a daily basis, who can't tell you what they were mad about 6 months ago because it doesn't matter anymore. I watched my parents stay together for 45 years, and they didn't make it through that marriage because everything was perfect and they never had an issue. They had many issues, bigger issues than the ones that led you to break up with your last girlfriend, right? But the thing about my parents that I really admired is they don't sweat the small shit. They're like, no, we're a family, we're a unit, we're a team, we're a couple. That's what we're going to be, and that's what it is. When when they took down Jesse Jackson and tore him apart and everything else, and I know people got different opinions on Jesse Jackson because there's a lot to talk about with Jesse, but I will say this, in terms of the strength of the black woman by his side, I remember when Jesse had that whole situation with the baby and the drama and everything else, and they were like, so are you going to divorce him? Are you going to put him out? Oh my goodness, are you going to get rid of him? And I'm not saying it was right or wrong. I'm just going to say I thought that this was interesting. His wife said, I'm going to say this one time. She said, there will only be one Mrs. Jesse Jackson. And that was the end of conversation. Now, again, I'm sure people would say, maybe rightfully so, who knows, like, oh, that's silly, or oh, you should have did this, you should have did that. Well, it ain't your decision to do that. It was her decision, and she made it clear it was her decision, and she made it clear what decision she was going to make, because she decided that being married was more important than getting revenge for whatever grief or grievance she might have had at that moment. She decided that the good outweighed the bad in her marriage. And I think that's interesting, because that's kind of how running a business is. If you run a business, you're not going to have easy days where everything's always good. You're not going to have months where you make money and you never lose money, right? You're never going to have a year where everything comes in and nothing goes out. You're going to have times where you're going to lose more money than you can imagine. You're going to have times where you're going to make a decent amount of money and you're going to find yourself ahead. The way a business owner decides if they're successful or not is not whether or not they've ever lost any money, because every business owner loses money. Every business owner makes bad investments, and many business owners who own enough businesses, at some point they eventually declare bankruptcy on one of the businesses. It just happens. If you're a business owner, raise your hand, tell me if you know what I'm talking about. Most of y'all business school students are in the black business school or something like that, so I hope you understand what I'm talking about. But here's the thing. What a business owner is able to do is to measure their success not just by their successes or just by their failures. They measure their successes and they weigh them against their failures. And if the good outweighs the bad, then you say we had a good year, right? And I think most relationships are supposed to be like that. Ain't nobody never gonna be in your life. No husband, wife, no friend, no politician, no business partner. There will never be a person or a situation in your life that's all good all the time. If I was to take my 3 closest friends, my 3 closest business associates, and if I was to lay out for you, if I decided I just wanted to be an ass and slander the shit out of them and just discredit them, I could give you a laundry list of massive fuck ups that they made. I could give you a long list of the things I can't stand about them. I could tell you all day long about all the mistakes that they made along the way. So you might say, well, if they're that bad, if they're that terrible, then why would they even be in your life? Why don't you cut them off? Well, the reason I don't cut them off is because there's always another side to that coin. There's the good that obviously outweighs the bad, and that's why I'm there. Why do I bring that up? Why does it sound like it sounds like a drawn out analogy, but the point is that we live in a world right now where alliances, relationships, and opportunities are being lost and destroyed because people are seeking to destroy and discredit one another by basically making a long laundry list of all the mistakes somebody made, like when somebody went and tried to discredit Claude Anderson, which really bothered me. All she did was list all the mistakes Claude Anderson made, all the things he did. He started a fish company and it didn't work out, and he didn't make no money. He don't know nothing about no business, and he also did this, and he did that, right? But didn't mention anything good about what he's done in his life. Didn't mention the fact that at limitation, I'm sure that the first runaway slave probably didn't succeed in getting off the plantation. I bet the first runaway slaves had a high failure rate because they didn't know where they were going. They didn't know how to get off the plantation. And a simple-minded Negro would look at that outcome and say, see, that proves y'all stupid. Y'all don't know nothing about trying to be free, and y'all up here talking crazy thinking you could get free from massa. Can't nobody get free from massa. Look, he tried to escape 2 times and he didn't even make it. He got his foot cut off because the nigga don't know what he's doing. He's stupid. It's blah, 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 right? Like somebody could do that, right? I'm sure there were slaves who did that, right? But that's not the slave who can see the bigger picture. You see, the slaves who saw the bigger picture were the ones who said, you know, every time we try to escape and we don't succeed, it's not so much a failure. It is an opportunity to learn how to escape the plantation a little bit better. It's an opportunity to grow and to figure out how to do it better next time, right? It's an opportunity for us to take the bad experiences and to learn from those so we can create good experiences in the future. And so what you must understand is that without the first runaway slave, you can't have the first black president. Without the ones who are willing to do the trial and error and jump in the fire and jump in the fight and make mistakes, you can't have the people who eventually have success because you don't learn anything along the way. So as black people, I think that, you know, we got to get out of this idea. We must know the difference between those who are seeking to discredit and destroy something versus those who are simply seeking to make it better. So if you go into a black business and they do something wrong or they make a mistake in their service, why go out and try to put them out of business? Why go and say, I'm a bad mouth the hell out of you. I'm going to tell everybody not to buy from you. I'm going to go make sure you don't never make another nickel. Why would you do that to a black business? Why would you do that to a business in your own community when you got white businesses robbing you left and right? You ain't said nothing to them. Apple computer gave you a computer, the shit broke down and you were mad, but you didn't say nothing. You didn't go out and make it your life mission to destroy destroy Apple computer. You still giving them money. Right? But a black business, get your fish order wrong, or somebody give you a little attitude, or something goes wrong, they don't bring your delivery on time. You want to get on Facebook and don't go to Billy's Fish Market because they got bad fish and they just garbage. No, it's self-hatred. That's what it is. You know, so maybe a better approach would be to say, look, I'm not going to, I personally am not going to come to your business anymore because I didn't get good service, but I'm going to give you feedback in the hopes that the next time a customer like me comes along, you don't mess that up. But I'm not coming back, but I'm going to stay on code, and I'm not interested in trying to blast you in front of the whole world. I am interested in basically talking to you in a way where we can sort of figure this out, and maybe we'll find common ground later. And then maybe they can even offer you something free so that maybe you'll consider coming back to be a customer. You never know. Right? You got to seek ways to build the bridge. Now, sometimes bridges can't be built. Some people don't want to build bridges. You know, now if you're asking me, like, for example, some people ask me about a couple of the people that I had issues with or whatever, because y'all seen me fight with people before, because I'm emotional. I'm human like everybody else. So everybody gets mad. I get mad too. But I can say for a fact that when you talk about the ADOS movement, I hit the ADOS leader up on the phone, called her a couple of times and texted her a couple of times and said, let's stop fighting, let's talk. And I never got a return call. I never got a return text. The next thing I know, I see a video, Dr. Boyce Watkins ain't shit. I hate Boyce Watkins, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, I think that if I wasn't involved in helping you along the way, I don't even know if any of this shit would even be here. There would be nothing to fight about if I hadn't supported you along the way. So I think that that's a little disingenuous. And I think that maybe us talking on the phone is probably something that should happen just out of us trying to find a way to move forward in a productive fashion. So what I'm going to say about, that all of this, if you want my 2 cents on ADOS, and I'm going to be done after this. Talib Kweli is actually coming on the channel with Vicky Dillard on Friday. So we're going to hear what Talib Kweli has to say. I'm going to let him do most of the talking. But I'm going to say this. I support the concept of ADOS, American Descendants of Slaves, because I am ADOS. If you're American and you're a descendant of slaves, say yes. Say, yes, I am. Yes, I am. If you are a descendant of slaves, say, yes, I am. Right? Okay. If you are a descendant of slaves, then can't nobody tell you that you can or can't be ADOS. It ain't no special club that you need permission to join. If you're ADOS and you support reparations, then that's it. End of discussion. You need no leadership to do any of that. That means that when the election comes, if you see a politician and the politician and you need your politician to support reparations and you like their plan, then vote for that politician. If your politician does not support reparations and that's an issue for you, then don't vote for that politician. Or if you're a person who doesn't care as much about reparations and feels that keeping Trump out of office is more important than worrying about reparations, then you go vote. You go do what you want to do. Because I told you, the Black Intellectual Freedom Party, not that this is a real party, I'm not going to start a political party, but in that space, you do what you want to do, and I'm going to still love you anyway. I'm going to still have your back anyway, because in the big picture of things, we're fighting for the same shit. We all want the same things. We want black kids to get a good education. Tell me yes or no. Do you want these things? Do you want black people to get a good education? Yes or no? Do you want black people to have economic strength as a community? Yes or no? Right? Do you want fewer black young people getting shot down in the street, fewer Nipsey Hussle memorials, where some brilliant young black man has been murdered over some nonsense? Yes or no? Right? So if we all agree on the major issues, then why are we fighting over the details? Why would we be fighting over strategy and who's going to do what? I'm not saying that we can't have heated debates over ideology. I think that's great. But I think that we should debate the ideas and not sort of make it into this personal thing where we're engaged in these very immature, embarrassing fights. And it's an embarrassment to our community, not because white people are looking. White people already don't like you. They already think of you as a nigga. They already think of us as a bunch of dumb monkeys anyway. So what white people think doesn't matter. I'm really talking about the children. I'm talking about that 20-year-old who's watching all this go down and is wondering why 50-year-olds are acting like they're 12, right? I'm talking about your kids, who are like, okay, daddy's screaming and hollering about XYZ and mama's yelling and screaming, but, I don't have milk money, I can't read, and I got to grow up and beg a white man for a job because my parents never took the time to make sure things were straight in their own household. I'm also a believer that most of the black leadership that takes place in your world should happen in your house. Your house is your own little kingdom. And what does that mean? That means that in my house, I can create whatever environment I want. In my house, I can create Wakanda in my home. In my home, we talk about economic intelligence in my home. In my home, we have straight A's. The kids get straight A's in my home. In my home, we don't even talk about college or higher education, because we had the debate about college. We don't even talk about higher education as if it's optional. Everybody assumes education is mandatory, like it's just something you're just supposed to do. In my home, we don't have to worry about abuse or domestic violence or anything like that, because that's not appropriate. We don't hit women in our home. Right? In our home, we believe in black intelligence. We believe in black liberation. We believe in being free and strong black people and knowing your history. That's what we believe in our home. So what I'm trying to say is that, stop. I personally think that overall, I will say this. I'm not real concerned about national politics. I am to a point. It's interesting. But it's more entertainment for me, honestly. It's just like, oh, the white people did something else weird on Capitol Hill. What's new, right? The national debt's out of control. Okay, that's been true for about my entire life, right? Or no, okay, white people on MSNBC are saying something stupid. Okay, that's what they kind of do. I don't watch MSNBC anymore. Like, all that doesn't matter. What matters is what you're doing in your home and what you're doing with your family. So I encourage you guys to not get caught up in the nonsense. Build with your own people, build with your own family, get around other like-minded black people who will encourage you and make you better, and do what's best for your kids, man, because all this other stuff out here is just silly. All of it's just silly. So anyway, I'm almost in Chicago. I appreciate you guys keeping me company as I drive to Chicago. Thank you for your donations. I see those of you who've been supporting. It means so much to me. Thank you so much, and I will do whatever I can to give that back to you 100-fold. Also, if you want to support the platform as a patron or something like that, you can go to intelligentblackpeople.com. That's intelligentblackpeople.com. It's not a donation. We don't do donations. We don't ask for donations. It's actually an investment, which means that we give you access to free things and all kinds of classes and access to just different things that you get as a patron. So feel free to go to intelligentblackpeople.com, or if you want to buy books like Powernomics or the Black Power Blueprint, things like that, or some of my books. I have my books are Black American Money 1 and 2 and the New Black Power 1 and 2. And actually Black American Money 3 is coming out very soon as well. So if you want to go get some books or flashcards for your kids or financial workbooks for your children, go to blackfinancialintelligence.com. That's blackfinancialintelligence.com. And I want to say thank you so much to the moderators for helping me keep the trolls out. This was a topic I didn't really know if I wanted to address, but I trust my subconscious and my instincts. When I took a nap, my subconscious, I was dreaming about this topic when I went to sleep, and my subconscious said, boys, go ahead and address this because this is something that needs to be talked about. So I want to say thank you for blocking out the trolls and all the silliness and everything else. I see Vicky Dillon in there. I know Dual Victory is always usually somewhere around, and I see a lot of W in there, and I want to say thank you very much, because without strong black women, there ain't no such thing as a strong black man without strong black women. So nobody, we don't diss the women, is as a collective. We can speak on differences, but as far as black women, I mean, we all hold everything together for us. So I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. So I'm out of here, guys. Have a good day. Please take 1 second real quick and hit that thumbs up button. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please hit the thumbs